Hi everybody, Jennifer Chappell, English Language Arts Instructional Coach here at Mitchell High School, and I'm going to walk you through how to use this resource that we've provided on this Google site, and this is Common IEP Accommodations. So you learned in the video on how to read an IEP that in section 10 you're going to find the specific accommodations and modifications that you're required by law to implement. And in this particular resource, what we've done is we've actually provided you with some of the most common IEP accommodations and given you operational definitions as well as examples when appropriate. And the goal of this resource is to support you with implementing these accommodations. And then in a later resource, maybe just helping you understand the difference between accommodations and modifications and how to implement those with fidelity in your instructional planning. So we're going to first start with a definition of an accommodation, and this is also in the resource that's linked in the Google site. An accommodation is an adaptation or change in educational environments or practices that help students to overcome barriers presented by their disability. So there are two general areas accommodations can be used, and that's instruction and testing. And one thing that we want to point out, and this is going to be true also when we talk about modifications, is that accommodations are changes to the delivery of the classroom instruction or the accompanying materials. But accommodations change how the students learn, but do not change what they learn. So accommodations do not change the scope or range of the grade level content standards, nor do they alter the complexity of the knowledge students are expected to learn. Rather, they are providing slight changes to the classroom instruction and the materials in order to decrease those barriers for students. Testing accommodations are specifically changes to the format of a test, maybe the testing environment or its administration procedures. Oftentimes this looks like how students are tested, but does not change what the test measures. So the most commonly used testing accommodations are extended time, having the test read aloud, or permitting scribes or dictations. And you'll see that in these operational definitions in this resource. So how are you going to access this resource? Well, obviously you've already come to this page, which is accommodations. So you're going to when you click into this page and you go onto this page, you're going to see an image of the full resource. In order to open that up, it's a Google Doc, and in order to open that up, you're going to first click on it, and then what will happen is there'll be another little button that pops up, and this is basically open this window. So to open this full resource, to see all the common IEP accommodations and operational definitions, you're going to open that window. And when you do, you're going to find this resource. And the way this resource is organized is that you're going to see the accommodation. So in this case, extended time. You're going to see in the middle column the operational definition. So this is going to give you a pretty succinct definition, and then if appropriate, an example. So let's just scroll down to here to take a look at one of these common accommodations. So oftentimes you'll see chunking or breaking down tasks, instructions, or assignments. So that's a common IEP accommodation. So this involves the instructor breaking assignments, tasks, assessments into smaller sections, or organizing the format of materials into more discrete and logical patterns for accessibility. And then in this case, it's actually going to walk you through a process for implementation of that particular accommodation. So that's how you can use this resource, and you can see we've provided you with some very, very common IEP accommodations, the definitions again, and then in many cases, either a procedure or some examples. Hope that helps.